Rose now in the left wing corner. Try to get it to Koivunen along the near circle. They get it back to Pickering at the left point. He threw one in front, kicked away into the corner by Gallagher. And back in behind the net. Rose looking to center. That was blocked. Tipped up into the air. Johansson played it along the far boards for Harrison. Can't get it out of the zone. Near the top of the face-off circle. Batted ahead by Johansson. Ananiemi played it for Doc, and deep it goes. It'll go behind the net. Zajac spun it back up the near side, lifted out into neutral ice. Chasing a bouncing puck, Cooper Simpson into the left wing corner. It'll come back around toward the near side. Don Zlochmelis is there for Boston. Simpson tried to backhand in front. That got cut off. Comes back up the near side and out through neutral ice. Giving chase was Avery Hayes, but Edward was there first for Boston.
And for anyone wondering, Travis Hayes and Avery Hayes are brothers, so they are related.
They didn't do us the justice of putting a first initial on the back of the jersey, so I got to remember which is which.
They do play very similar, so that is something to keep an eye on for sure.
Zlochmelis backhands it back to McKinnon at the right point. His shot blocked by Hayes, goes into the far corner. Duran sends it back in deep. Poked along toward the near side circle. Zlochmelis had it knocked off his stick. Pedal. Now Avery Hayes with it once again. Just about 2 minutes into this first period. Great to have you along on BostonBruins.com and PittsburghPenguins.com. Joint production of the teams here in this Prospects Challenge. On the near side, puck will be coming across the rink toward the far side. Swatted at by Finn Harding. Taken back over by Dylan McKinnon here for the Bruins. McKinnon skating it up toward the red line. Dumps it down the boards all the way around to the far side. Schmaltz played it back in behind. Kept moving toward the near side, courtesy of Pickering. Sharon took a hit from Cheveldayoff. He'll do a lot of that today. One of the leaders in penalty minutes in the East Coast League last year was Cheveldayoff. Pickering skating it to neutral ice. Dumps in from the red line. Hokie Johansson trying to reverse it. Had it knocked off his stick. Instead now, Penguins will control. Here's Brunick stepping into a shot, and Zajac makes his first save of the game, just close to 3 minutes into this first period.
You know, Ryan, we mentioned the Hayes brothers, and Avery Hayes is such a cool story, I think, for any player, on these rosters. He came in on an AHL contract and was told, going into development camp in this tournament last year that everyone was going to be on the same playing field no matter what they're signed to, no matter who they are. And he ended up earning an NHL contract. So, I know there's a lot of draft picks in each organization, but there's a lot of invites here as well that can really make a name for themselves and, get into their respective organizations.
I mean, you've got 18-year-old kids here who are, committed to going to college in the future, who are years away. Well, you've got other guys who already have NHL experience who are trying to make the big club potentially right out of camp. As Gallagher skates it down the right wing circle here for the Bruins, and a shot from in tight, tipped up into the air. It comes down and is controlled by Pittsburgh. Played back out toward the blue line, but Lachance kicked it to keep it in. Got it back from Vermette. Shot goes up off the back glass. Clausen going to leave it in front of his net. Brunick will skate back in behind. Harrison Brunick, born in Johannesburg, South Africa. The second South African product ever to be drafted into the NHL. Can you name the first?
Olaf Kolzig?
Nailed it.
Yes.
He is the first position player ever to be drafted.
It's funny because he it's such a cool tidbit. He's like, it's pretty much my only fun fact. And he said a lot of guys find out about it. He went overseas with Team Canada, got invited to their pre-tournaments.
Here's Minton to Bancroft moving in, got the shot in. And the save made by Miroshov, and the rebound just couldn't get it settled. Harrison got another shot in, and again, Miroshov able to make the stop.
It's a nice push by the Bruins there.
Rose dumps it back in. Yeah, Brunick moved to Calgary when he was 2, so not, he was born in South Africa. Yes. He is essentially a Canadian.
That is good context there, He definitely, why is he playing for Team Canada if he was born in South Africa? But, Yes, he's spent a lot of time in Canada, and it's funny. I talked to his parents at the draft, and they of course knew nothing about hockey, but quickly got to know it, and it's been a crazy ride for them. But going over to play in the pre-tournament camp with Hockey Canada, Harrison said that Ryan O'Reilly came up to him and was like, "Hey, you're from South Africa?" Like he was like, "I don't know how he found out, but he thought it was really cool," and it definitely is a cool story.
Puck deflects out of the Penguins' attack zone. Pickering on his horse, getting chased down by Riley Duran, who lunges for the puck, but Pickering skates away. On the near side, it's Avery Hayes playing it down the left wing corner. Just over 5 minutes gone here in this first period, as Duran brings it back for Boston, crisscrossing with Simpson. They get crossed up. Doc redirects one into the Boston zone, and he'll give chase. Turning toward the near side was Ty Gallagher. Gallagher played it up the near boards. Simpson helped it into the attack zone. Vermette got crunched along the far boards. It'll be thrown back toward the net by Johansson. Near side boards, and it's Gallagher poking it down toward the corner. Centering pass. It was right on the doorstep for Edwards, but couldn't get a stick on it. And now the Penguins head the other way in a hurry with Sharon sending one right into the middle. And a chance. Zajac made the stop. Ryan Miller, I believe that was, that had the opportunity, coming right down the slot. Cheveldayoff got canceled out in the near corner. Gallagher kept in here for Boston. Throws one all the way into the far corner. Trying to pinch in was Jackson Edward. Couldn't keep it alive, and now a 3-on-2 for Pittsburgh if they go. Maybe a 4-on-2. Puck off the near boards. Calvert threw one to the net. Kick back on into the near corner.
Ryan Miller is certainly a well-known name here in Buffalo.
Not the same.
Exactly.
Directed off a skate and deep into Boston territory. To battle to a side back there. Around toward the far point. It'll come around toward the near side now. Brzezinski got spun to the ice. Here's a chance from up top by Beauchene. That was blocked off. Digging for it in the corner was Clausen. On the end boards, it comes free. Back to Beauchene. Shot blocked by Vermette. Hedl skates it down the near circle. Runs into Lachance. On the near wall. Pulled free toward the slot. It'll come back again to the point. Beauchene with a shot. That one blocked off in front again. Turnaround shot by Graham. That one got through. Vermette lifts off the far glass and out of the zone. I mean, non-stop action here in this first half of the first period. Minton got it out toward the blue line. Pickering couldn't hold it, and to drop it back. Now Koivunen neutral ice, not able to find any space. Directed back into the Pittsburgh zone. Pickering looks for options from the near corner. Long pass picked off by Minton just inside the blue line. Got it in front for Bancroft. Redirected up and over the net. Fraser Minton, good two-way player. One of the things that they're looking for him, I think particularly in this tournament, is to create more offensive chances. They know what he can do in the defensive zone. Good face-off man. As Harrison comes down the right wing side and gets ridden into the corner by Pienaniemi. Penguins headed back the other way. Penguins in white, Bruins in the black and gold. McKinnon tried to play it from behind the net, got it taken away. A chance in front for Avery Hayes. Simpson now with a puck on his stick. Collision along the far boards as Doc put to the wall by Loschmelis. Simpson drags it around the boards for Durant. Back to Loschmelis in deep. UMass product. Couldn't get that puck moving. Penguins will get it cleared. Gallagher finds Loschmelis in the neutral zone. Durant down the right wing side. Simpson couldn't grab a hold of that drop pass. Now Hayes comes back the other way for Pittsburgh. A centering pass gets all the way through to the far circle. Gallagher will circle back behind the net. Shots 4-3 in favor of Pittsburgh so far. Edwards just inside the Penguins line. Got it in front and a chance, and a stop made by Murashov as he took a chance away from Cheveldayoff.
Tremendous pass there by Edwards. Just put the puck on a platter for him. Goes in alone. But what a stop there from Sergei Murashov. Someone I know Penguins fans are very, very excited about. He came over as somewhat of a surprise last year and decided he was going to turn professional in North America and spent time in Wheeling and Wilkes-Barre Scranton and had a phenomenal season. The numbers were mind-boggling, and he's a very endearing kid off the ice as well. So a lot of ingredients there to make him a fan favorite, hopefully, at some point in the future.
He had a 2.4 goals against down in Wheeling in the ECHL, and he had a 2.64 in 16 games in Wilkes-Barre Scranton in the AHL. So success at both levels very quickly.
Yeah, he had a 10-game unbeaten streak, I want to say, in Wilkes-Barre.
Here's Miller right on the doorstep trying to one-time that through Zajac, who made the save and was able to cover up. 10-12 left here in the first period. No score so far between the Bruins and Penguins prospects. Simon Zajac mentioned during the starting lineups down in goal for the Bruins. An unknown quantity for the Bruins. This is the first time we've had a chance to see him. Signed in May, coming out of the Czech League. He's 24 years old. This is his first season in North America, but over playing against professionals in his home country. 2.12 goals against, a .930 save percentage, and 5 shutouts in 29 starts last year.
Ooh. Quite a resume.
So yeah, the expectation among many will be that he will be in Providence to start the season. And we'll see where it goes from there, but he's been tested a couple of times so far.
Yeah, this has to be huge for him in terms of just getting that comfort, that familiarity with his new organization, and just getting situated and meeting everybody. I mean, there's so many names from, the equipment staff to the medical staff to, dietitians, the list goes on. So I'm sure it's all whirlwind for him, but in a good way.
Puck grabbed and brought back into the Penguin zone here by Harding.
And his pads. Those are some good-looking goalie pads.
On the near side here is Pienaniemi, working his way all the way to the far circle. Gets around Minton, backhander toward the front. But blocked there by Ty Gallagher. Out near the point, Brunick got it to Koivunen, flips a backhander across. Pienaniemi's shot goes wide as he was trying to shoot around Lachance. Thrown back to the net. This time Zajac had to make the save. Lifted up and out of the zone by Maverick Lachance. Here is Minton on the right circle. Turns back toward the boards. Lost possession. Koivunen will back it up. Pienaniemi got it to Bros, directed on into the Boston zone. Loki Johansson played it behind the net. And that is how it's pronounced. It's not Johansson, it's not Johansson, it's not Johansson, Johansson.
We went over pronunciations before the game. That was one I don't think I would have had it listed as you said it.
I had a video of him saying it. That's where we got that one from, is directed into the corner.
The source himself.
Much like Pienaniemi. Here comes the Penguins and a chance, and Zajac makes the stop again. That was Kindle, the first-round draft pick, who was wide open, going right down the middle. O'Shane with a shot, and that one gets through and into the glove of Zajac. He hangs on to it. Ben Kindle, who put up 99 points in 65 games with the Calgary Hitmen in the WHL last season. 11th overall pick in the 2025 draft for the Penguins.
The first of 3 first-rounders for the Penguins as they sort of transition into the next stage. And what's cool about him, Ryan, is that he actually comes from a soccer background. Both of his parents played professionally. Steve Kindle and Sarah Maglio for Canada, for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and then internationally. And, Ben did play soccer growing up, but they could tell early on hockey was, where his true passion was, and it's clearly worked out pretty well thus far.
Puck grabbed in the neutral zone here by Cooper Simpson. Simpson pass off the skate of Duran. Chased on into the corner. Penguins will come away with that. Pickering gets it right back onto that far side. Calvert going to dump it in. That was blocked in front of the Boston bench. Schmaltz dropped back on the near side. Simpson got tangled with Pickering. Schmaltz got tripped up going into the corner against Harding. We've got 13 minutes gone here in this first period. Neither team has found the back of the net as of yet. Sanderson, shouldered by Mitch Young. Now with it is Dylan Edwards. He'll backhand on into the Pittsburgh zone. Brunick got it back over far side. This is Clausen. Outlet pass, missed Sanderson. That's going to go just wide of the net, so it'll be an icing against Pittsburgh. Once again, just want to welcome you all, wherever you may be on this Friday afternoon. We are at the Lecom Harbor Center in Buffalo for the 2025 Prospects Challenge. Ryan Johnston from the Bruins Radio Network. Michelle Crecchiolo from PittsburghPenguins.com with you here this afternoon.
Gotta love a shared broadcast, you know. We can give our perspectives on both organizations, which you don't normally get in one sitting.
Yeah, looking forward to this. You know, I've been looking forward to this since they told me I was coming. But, you know, an opportunity here is Edwards has an opportunity, and redirected shot off the stick of Brady Peddle goes up and out of play. But yeah, I know they've had online broadcasts of this in the past with no announcers, and the fans had trouble telling who everybody was.
Right.
So they said, maybe we ought to put some broadcasters on this year. And so, you know, the teams that are involved, I know I'll be working with Matt Laughlin from the Devils Radio Network.
Matty's the best.
He is. Looking forward to that on Sunday. So, you know, it's a fun opportunity to get to work with some folks that we don't normally get to be on the air with.
Absolutely.
We got our first penalty coming up here. As the Penguins have control of the puck, the arm is up. I think it was Vermette who's going to get called for a trip, and the Penguins nearly lost it into their own net in the process, but still moving here as Bros will skate it through neutral ice with some speed, cutting to the left side, gives in the middle to Koivunen, walks right in, shoots and scores. While on the delayed penalty, the Penguins will get the first one here as Ville Koivunen able to get that one past Zajac to make it 1-0 Pittsburgh.
I love the way Tristan Bros held onto that puck, just calm, cool, collected. Finds Ville Koivunen in the slot and picked his spot there, just wired it in. You know, I think he's someone that got a chance to catch up with him yesterday and just talk to him about, you know, you had such a strong finish the last season. He played 8 NHL games, picked up 7 assists. And, you know, he's talking about how highly motivated he is to try to have more time in Pittsburgh this year. And he's certainly making a case already here in the first period of this Prospects Challenge.
Koivunen, 21 goals and 56 points in 63 games last year in Wilkes-Barre. Had 7 assists in 8 games in Pittsburgh as well. And the Penguins looking to keep the pressure up here. Collision along the near boards. Koivunen steals the puck, walks right in, and Zajac makes the stop this time with the glove and hangs on to it.
And that's how we stopped Ben Kindle in that breakaway with the glove there. You know, you know that goalies usually need a little bit more time to get into the rhythm of things. And, you know, we're only a few minutes into the first game action in a long time. So, but all of that being said, the goalies have looked pretty strong here early on both sides.
Yeah, the Boston defense needs to squeeze things a little bit tighter in that defensive zone. They've given up 3 or 4 open opportunities from between the circles here. As Young will clear it out. And we talk about what these guys, as Young will clear it out. And we talk about what these guys, you know, are going through and what they're trying to prove individually here. It's also a good chance for young guys to learn what are new systems. You know, Marco Sturm wants to play a different style of hockey than some Bruins are going to be used to. So, you know, a chance for them to start to learn that as well here this weekend.
That's a great call.
Here's Fraser Minton leading the charge for Boston. Minton, little spinorama, tried to backhand in front, but it went off the skate of Finn Harding. They're locked up in the corner. Puck comes free. Doc controls for Pittsburgh. 4:35 left here in the first period. Puck directed into Boston territory. Gallagher will circle back. Riley Duran going to play it deep. Duran, a couple of games for Boston last year. Spent most of the season with the Providence Bruins. And that puck's going to be frozen here by Murashov with 4:18 left in this first period.
Yeah, they just mentioned the assist from Tristan Brose. I think he's someone that the Bruins might want to keep an eye on in this game. He had 2 goals and an assist in the opener between Pittsburgh and Boston last year. So he was ready and raring to go, and it looks like, you know, it's the same situation again this year.
Going into his second pro season. Spent last year in Wilkes-Barre Scranton. After coming out of the University of Denver. Spent a year at University of Minnesota as well.
Yeah.
Prior to heading west.
You know, he won the national championship there, turned pro, but then came down with a case of mono at the start of this calendar year and missed about a month. And it was just tough starting from square one when he came back into the lineup. So I know he's definitely someone that's looking to put that behind him and just move forward and have a strong second pro season.
Puck off the near wall. Edwards chasing against Beauchene, able to cut off or wrap up the near boards, but it got past Jackson Edward at the point, who come all the way back into Boston territory. Cheveldayoff going behind his own net, ran into some trouble against Clausen. Now Edwards plays it across ice. Cheveldayoff picks it up on his way out of the zone, gets ridden into the boards in front of the Bruins bench. Beauchene trying to hold his line here for Pittsburgh. Roughing up Schmaltz over by the Pittsburgh bench. Puck will come around the near side. Collision with Edward and Graham out near the blue line. Just under 3 minutes left here in the first period. Puck goes in wide of Murashov. Comes out in front, and Cheveldayoff, another opportunity there, turned away. He's had a couple of good looks at it here in the first period as Cheveldayoff.
He's been buzzing around that net front.
Mentioned his penalty minutes. He had 175 penalty minutes last year in the ECHL for Jacksonville, 5th in the league in that department. Chipped in 6 goals and 19 points in 66 games. Played a couple of games with the Maine Mariners as well. Now signed to an AHL contract over the offseason by the Bruins after they got a look at him last spring.
I'm sure he does a lot for his confidence, knowing that they felt strongly enough about him to offer him that sort of deal, and hopefully he can parlay that into an NHL contract at some point down the line.
He's got some size, 6'3", 224 pounds, 22 years old. Face off in the defensive zone here for Boston. They win it. Lachance got it out into neutral ice, knocked out of midair by Vermette. Vermette leaves it toward the slot. And ridden wide of the net was Cole Chandler, couldn't get the shot. Johansson decked his mantle on the far boards. Vermette digging for it out of that far corner, and a chance for Lachance as it's redirected up and out of play off of Murashov.
That was a beautiful breakout by Boston there to gain the zone, get a quick look. Murashov's just been getting behind these pucks, but the Bruins keep plugging away. I feel like they're doing a lot of good things in the offensive zone.
Maverick Lachance with that opportunity. He's headed to Merrimack College next season. 19 years old. Face-off win for the Bruins. Thrown wide of the net by Johansson. Doc will come out through neutral ice. Played it down the left wing side. Loki Johansson got a little off balance going into the corner. Yananiemi able to keep it alive here for Boston. Good check on the far boards by Vermette, freed it up. Lachance brings the Bruins forward, looking to center. Redirected off toward the top of the far circle. It ends up on the stick of Doc. Dale Doc just inside the line. Gives it off, centering pass. They were looking for Kindle on the back door. That was taken away and lifted out into neutral ice.
What a toe save there. Just barely got it and eliminated that play for Ben Kindle on the back door.
Kindle played it down toward the end boards. Bruins with it. This is Minton. Across the red. Lifts it in from the blue. Urashov spun it back around the far side. Cut off by Brzezinski. A centering pass. Minton on the doorstep. Couldn't find the handle. And it'll come free along the near side boards. Miller skates the Penguins forward. He's got 3 black shirts around him fighting his way through, but Brzezinski rides him down. And the puck is lifted out of the zone. Final 35 seconds of the period here. Harrison put Calvert to the wall. Dylan McKinnon laid out into neutral ice. Bancroft kept it moving. Harding looks over his shoulder as he goes to get the puck. Bushmel is bearing down on him. Pickering to Graham. Now toward the blue line. Sanderson dropped it back to Pickering. Threw it toward the Boston line. That got cut off there, but it's going to be whistled for a hand pass with 9.4 seconds before the break.
What a period of hockey this has been, Ryan. We've gotten it all.
Fast-paced. some physical play.
Good chances. It's been a solid 20 minutes considering, you know, how we talked about that you're coming off a long summer.
On the near board, Simpson is trying to move it forward. Pickering will cut that off, and the horn sounds to end period number 1. So the only goal in the first 20 minutes belongs to the Penguins' Ville Koivunen, set up by Tristan Brose at 14:08 of that first period. That's got the Penguins with a 1-0 lead at the end of 20 minutes. Well, during our intermission, we're going to keep you company with some feature videos, and Michelle and I will be back for the second period here. 5-man power advantage when that one was scored.
Yeah, I know special teams is something the teams like working on in this environment, so I'll be interested to see if we get any more of that here in the second period.
And thanks for joining us. PittsburghPenguins.com, BostonBruins.com. Joint production today. Ryan Johnston from the Bruins Radio Network, joined alongside by Michelle Crecchiolo from PittsburghPenguins.com. Bruins with the puck in their own zone. Hemmed in along the near wall is Brett Harrison. Backed it up. Loki Johansson will play it over to the far side, out through neutral ice, tipped ahead by Bancroft. Harrison puts a hit in the far corner, can't get to the puck. Penguins will break it out. They're in white sweaters and helmets. Hayes sending one across, tipped on back toward the blue line, kept in at the line. Back across to Koivunen, right circle, found Kindle in the middle, but that shot blocked off the leg of Brzezinski. In the far corner, Edward. Doc got it behind the net here for the Penguins. Minton for the Bruins. Will throw it out of the zone, angling into the Penguins zone, and it will just make it for icing. Yananiemi pumping those legs, couldn't quite get back to it.
You know, Pianiemi and Ville Koivunen actually have known each other for years. They work out together in Finland. They played together in Liga for Karpat. And now they're together in the Penguins organization. So it's definitely big, I think, for the European players to have, you know, their countrymen alongside them, to be able to speak their native language in certain situations and just have that comfort level.
There's Brunick with a shot, gets blocked. Looked like it might have hit his teammate Hayes in front. Doc backhanding it up the far side. Yeah, both guys from Finland. Yananiemi scored a goal in Finland's loss to the United States in the gold medal game at the World Juniors this past year. Brunick trying to get it to the net. That blocked off of Minton. Kindle played it back down the wall. Edward able to swat it past Kindle. Brzezinski to Minton. Off the far boards and out. Controlled though by the Penguins in the neutral ice. Kindle gets it right back into the zone. Minton cuts that one off at the near circle. Hayes trying to win it back. Minton fights that off. Gets to center ice. Lobs it down into the left wing corner. Bancroft had it sticked away by Brunick. Lifted into the air. Glove down by Young, but then he got decked by Brady Peddle. Kindle brings the Penguins forward. Edwards, drives him to the boards in front of the Penguins bench, and there's going to be a penalty on that one. And now we're going to get a fight as well. That's Beauchene throwing right hands, knock the helmet off, and the linesman will jump in as they go tumbling down. So Quinn Beauchene coming to his teammate's defense there. He'll head to the box, as will Dylan Edwards.
You know, Beauchene's someone that just really left a fantastic impression on everyone in the Penguins organization. He, you know, when he was leaving at the end, he made it a point to, after development camp, to personally thank all the team staffers and media members for his experience over that week. He was an alternate captain for Team Canada at the World Under-18 Championship. Just a really high character kid. So it's no surprise that he came to the defense of his teammate Ben Kindle, who was able to get up, albeit a little slowly, but you know, hopefully he's okay after that check into the boards.
Dylan Edwards, 5'8", 174 pounds, not known as an overly physical guy. He only had 29 penalty minutes in 66 games for the Erie Otters of the OHL last season.
Erie Otters not very far from where we are now.
It's true. Cooper Simpson is going to come across and go into the penalty box as well here. So there's going to be the additional minor for Edwards for the hit. We're not going to see any instigator handed out here or anything against Beauchene.
Oof.
So it'll be a 5-on-4 manpower advantage for Pittsburgh. They're already up 1-0. Just about 2.5 minutes into this second period. Rose in the near corner. Kindle wraps it around the far side boards. Pinching along the wall was Koivunen, but taken away, and it'll be cleared by Jake Schmaltz.
You know, Ryan, that hit from Edwards, I think it's something where these kids are just trying to make an impression in any way that they can, and in a lot of times physicality is the best method to make that happen. So, you know, it's never a surprise to see a lot of hits, a lot of physicality in this tournament. Yeah,
you see it a lot. You know, you watch NHL preseason games, and you know, you watch these rookie camps and development camps. Sometimes even in inter-squad scrimmages, you'll see guys drop the gloves because they're looking to get noticed. And obviously, you know, you look at the moves that the Bruins made over the offseason, a lot of it is geared toward being a more physical team, a tougher team to play against. You bring in a guy like Tanner Jeannot as one of your main signings, and you're adding some sandpaper there. Penguins getting set up with 54 seconds left on their power play. Bros gives it into the middle, gets it right back. Centering pass blocked by Edward down on one knee. Bros played it back toward the blue line, but nobody home. Koivunen has to chase it back into neutral ice. They get back on side. 35 seconds left on the Penguins power play. Bros in the neutral zone. Steps through Vermette. They work it to Hayes. Right circle, and Brzezinski blocks that shot up into the netting out of play.
You know, Ryan, you mentioned you know, the signings that Boston made, and it was something where the Penguins did add a couple of former Bruins into their organization. Parker Wotherspoon on defense and Justin Brazeau at forward. And I was wondering if you could give any Penguins fans listening a little, you know, synopsis of what those guys bring.
Parker Wotherspoon, I think, is a solid depth defenseman. You know, was spent a lot of time in the Bruins' top 6 last year out of necessity. You know, with some of the changes they made and some of the guys they've got coming up, maybe just didn't have a spot for him this season. So good to see him land there. And Brazeau is an interesting guy. You know, he got on a little bit of a run last year and then eventually got traded out to Minnesota at the deadline and finished the year there. But again, good to see him find a landing spot here for the near future. As that puck gets up into the air, power play is over. Bruins able to kill off their first of the game. Just over 4.5 minutes gone here in this second period. Penguins leading by 1. And another chance denied by Zajac as Clausen, coming down that left wing circle, made the save.
It's a nifty little move by Owen Pickering in the corner of his own zone to get that breakout going. And, you know, he's out of swift current, and so is Grayson Brzezinski. Also spent time with the Broncos of the Western Hockey League. So they played together for, I believe, a season. And now they're playing against each other here at the Prospects Challenge.
Offensive zone face-off for Boston, and they win it. Brzezinski to Simpson, trying to tip that out of his own, but bounced off of Harding's leg. And now a scramble for it along the near circle. Harding lines up with it. Lines in behind the net. Brzezinski in a one-on-one battle against Graham. Oshmelis got knocked down. Edward picked up the puck. Simpson will skate it out into neutral ice. Good stick work there by Pickering to slow down that rush. Now Oshmelis trying to wrap it around from the near side off the outside of the net. Here's Sharon back the other way. Graham, near side circle. Deflected again by Edward. Brought toward the near side by Cooper Simpson.
Love the assertiveness there, sorry Ryan, from Duran, just going for that wraparound. I think that's something you tell these guys is just don't overthink it, simplify it, and for him to really just, you know what, I'm just going to power to the net and go for it. It's great to see. We got a brief look at Riley Duran in Boston last year. He played a couple of games as that play winds up offside. Spent most of the year in Providence, and he's a coach's son. His dad's a longtime hockey coach at Woburn High School, just outside of Boston, and so a lot of times those guys, you know, who grow up with dads as coaches are thinking man's players. Yes. Like they know the game very well. You know, the first person who comes to mind for me in that regard is Jake Gensel. You know, his dad was a longtime college coach with Minnesota, and Jake's hockey IQ was just on another level, and it's what allowed him to play so well with Sidney Crosby because, you know, it's not easy to think the game on that same plane. Lunik going behind the net. Minton relieved him of the puck. Tries to leave it in behind again. Bancroft will take it toward that right wing circle. Bancroft floats one across the ice. Mitch Young had to settle it. Minton works his way back toward the blue line. Now Young cutting into the corner. At the back of the net, it's Harrison. Young, Minton, high slot shot, kicked away. And the Penguins looking to break out. Koivunen was behind everyone, but they couldn't get the puck free all the way to him. Penguins will try a regular breakout this time. And Koivunen's going to wind up offside at the blue line. You know, I like the Bruins trying to get that shot through traffic. I think that's another skill that comes with time, where you can make sure that it gets through all of those legs and bodies in front, but deflected off of someone in that regard. But, you know, when those get through, the goalie's eyes are gone. Jake Schmaltz able to win that face-off from Kindle. Schmaltz turned pro out of the University of North Dakota back in March. He's in on the forecheck here as Kindle from a knee gets it to Pickering at the back of the net. Doc tipped it through neutral ice. Here is Kindle stepping into a shot wide of Zajac. Penguins able to keep alive here with Harding along the near side. Off the glass. Pass all the way around the perimeter. Harding again from the right point. That one redirected on goal by Doc. And Zajac able to make that save and hang on to it. A redirect, you know, one of the worst nightmares for a goalie, and for him to be right there and ready to absorb it. Just a great stop there. Well, especially when that shot looks like it's going wide, and then suddenly it's coming right at you. Impressive stuff. Cale Doc with that tip. 7th round draft pick. Not related to Kirby. Yeah, a lot of this will be us just clarifying. Here's Maverick Lachance for the Bruins. He throws a shot in on Miroshov, who made the save into the far corner. Penguins head back the other way. Edward able to get a shoulder on Max Graham. Battle for possession behind the Bruins net. 12:15 to go here in the second period. Pittsburgh prospects have the only goal in this game. Clausen coming toward the near side circle. Chandler able to seal his man off. Clausen keeps it moving around the far side. Here's Harding with a shot. That one got through. Save made by Zajac, and Bruins can't get it out. Harding will throw it back around. Edward checks over his shoulder. Gives Graham a little reverse hit. Puck, though, held in at the line by Peddle. Comes back toward the near side. And Calvert
and Brzezinski both take a tumble. Edward got it ahead, but again, still can't clear it out. LaChance knocked it out of the air. Simpson couldn't get a hold of it. Calvert along the near circle, or far circle rather, trying to get a shot. Turnaround shot by Sharon goes just wide. Sharon steps away from LaChance. Try to get it in front. Directed up into the air, glove down by Harding. Skates it down toward the corner and around behind the net. Slipped the check from Edward. Miller now high slot. LaChance blocks that attempt, and it goes up and out of play.
It was a good sequence there for the Penguins. They had some sustained ozone time, and Finn Harding played a big part in that. He's a 2024 7th-round pick of the Penguins, and I think sometimes when you're drafted in those later rounds, you're not as much on the radar. But it's cool to get a chance to see players like that, the later round guys in this environment, and just kind of get a feel for what they're all about. Because the higher round picks, there's a ton of highlights, there's a lot of discourse about them, and which is all great. But for some of the longer range guys, it's not as easily accessible.
Penguins control it off the face-off, looking to keep the pressure going here again. Rose can't find it in his skates. McKinnon will push it toward Duran. Riley trying to get it up and out of the zone. Bruins getting hemmed in here again. Young from the far circle. Got it out toward the blue line, cut off, but we have a penalty coming against Pittsburgh, it would appear. High sticking the indication. And so the Bruins will get their first power play of the game, closing in on the midway point of this second period. It'll be Travis Hayes going to the box.
All right, Ryan, we're getting some of that special teams play that we were talking about. And I know, at least from the Pittsburgh side, not only is there a new head coach, there's an entirely new staff of assistants. And so, they have their own ways of doing things and their own thoughts about how a power play should run, how a penalty kill should run. So
looking over at the Bruins bench, Ryan Mougenel, who's the Providence Bruins head coach, talking to the official, asking, is it 4 minutes?
Yeah.
So I don't know if there was an injury involved or not. The official now coming back over to clarify, so it might be 4 minutes.
And we also had our goalies change, I believe, on both sides.
Zajaczek's still in there at the Bruins end. Penguins sneak out a new goaltender here. Gabriel Daig is their second goaltender out of Victoriaville in the Quebec Major Junior League. So the Bruins do in fact get a double minor power play here. 4 minutes to Hayes, and a one-timer by Harrison goes wide. Simpson will get it down low to Minton. Harrison tried to get it to Bancroft. That was cut off by Brunick. And they lose it out of the zone, and now a shorthanded chance here for the Penguins. Brunick coming down the middle, settles down that pass and gets the shot, but Zajaczek able to make the save shorthanded.
Well, nothing like throwing your goaltender into the fire. Hey, welcome to the game. Here's a 2-minute power play for the opponent. But his teammates helping him out there with a nice rush. And, great work by Harrison Brunick great decision making, I should say, to jump up into that play and be an outlet and get a good chance as a result. I think that's another thing, Ryan, that these young defensemen, and all across the league have to learn as they go along, just when to pinch, when to not, when to maybe be a little bit more conservative. So that one worked out well, even though the Penguins were shorthanded.
Gabriel Daig, who takes over in goal for Pittsburgh, started in the Quebec Major Junior League at the age of 15. He's 3 years into his junior career already at 18 years old. And I saw some video of him when he was 15 being interviewed, and he looked like he was about 10.
What's funny about that is apparently he's the goalie you want in NHL franchise mode. I mean, I'm not a big video game person, so I might not be explaining that properly, but I think he had a pretty big following because he was, even though, he was playing juniors, because people liked putting them on their team in franchise mode in NHL.
Here's Don Loschmelis coming ahead for the Bruins. LaChance dropped it back to Young. Over to the far side for Channel. Young To Loschmelis, near circle. Gave it up. Duran tried to give it right back to him and a circle back to get it. Now here's Duran from the near circle, shooting around Petal. Puck ended up off the back glass. Young, high slot, got the shot through, and the save made by Daig, and the Penguins will clear the rebound. 2:18 left on this double minor to Travis Hayes. Young will skate it forward here for the Bruins. Now a dump in by Duran, hard around the near boards. Minton couldn't get it, and it slips past Loschmelis and back toward the Boston zone. Ty Gallagher back to play. Gallagher spent 3 years at Boston University, and then his final season at Colorado College. Minton just inside the Penguin line. Throws it in front, standing all by himself there was Brett Harrison. Couldn't settle that puck to get a backhand shot. You got Minton involved in a wrestling match back in the offensive zone while Simpson and Gallagher go back to retrieve the puck in the Bruins end with 1:22 to go on this double minor. Bancroft skating ahead off the right wing boards and deep. Back toward the corner. Harrison pokes it off the wall. Minton gives it right back to him. Now again it's Minton at the far side hash marks. Harrison looking up top. Instead goes back toward the corner. Minton cycling around. Gallagher bats it out of the air after it hit him in the skate. Simpson out of the corner for Bancroft. Into the far corner. And cut off before it got to Minton. 48 to go on the power play. And the Penguins again get it cleared. Hayacek sets it up for Gallagher. Gallagher pressured by Calvert. Schmaltz coming through neutral ice, ran headlong into Beauchene. And the puck just out of Kindle's reach as he tried to head back shorthanded. 20 seconds to go on the Bruins power play. And Calvert takes one away at center ice and dumps it right back in. Schmaltz, well, skated through neutral ice. Deflected pass, got over to Edwards, off balance, trying to stay with it. As the power play about to come to an end. Cheveldayoff ridden to the boards by Beauchene at the back of the net. Hayes is sprung from the box. Team's at full strength with 6.5 to go here in the second period. And the Penguins up 1-0. Hayes, fresh out of the box, will play the puck behind the net. Calvert trying to get it back to the point. Got blocked by Edwards, and now Edward, plural and singular. Cheveldayoff will get that in, but that's going to be an icing call here against the Bruins. Yeah, Jackson Edward, defenseman, who spent part of the year in Providence last year. And then you've got Dylan Edwards, 20-year-old out of Scarborough, Ontario, who's another Erie Otter.
Erie, where Connor McDavid played his junior hockey. Alex DeBrincat as well. And I believe they were line mates for a while. You know, Ryan, I got to say, I think the Penguins coaching staff has got to be pretty happy seeing them kill off a 4-minute double minor. Dan Muse ran the penalty kill unit in Nashville, where he spent some time there. And Nick Bonino has a lot of PK experience, 2-time Stanley Cup champion with Pittsburgh, who's now on the staff as well. And Nick told me that they would just have these long conversations about the penalty kill, to the point, you know, they would have a lot to talk about in that regard. So,
yeah, 4-minute power play. Bruins weren't able to generate a lot of grade A chances. Best one might have been Harrison, and he didn't get a shot off. The puck just wouldn't settle for him. Edward gets a hit on Doc, sends him sprawling. Cheveldayoff finds Minton left side, flips it back across. Cheveldayoff, puck on his backhand, got it in front, and a point-blank chance for Bancroft, turned aside by Daig. Ticking down toward 5 minutes to go here in the second period. Hayes along the near boards, shoved by Johansson. Back toward the near corner. Johansson went for another hit, this time on Doc, who slipped away from him. Doc then lost the puck, stick check by Minton. Will come back around toward the far side and thrown back toward the net by Petal. Now Hayes, a turnaround shot. That one knocked down in front. Zajac down, trying to tuck it in. They could not, as he was able to hold that left pad along the goal line. Chance in front for Doc. Puck got away from him. And the Bruins get it cleared.
A little premature celebration from a couple of the Penguins on the ice.
And the Bruins are going to get offside here. Cheveldayoff was going into the Bruins bench. The door is inside the blue line, so as Minton carried that puck into the zone, didn't realize that Cheveldayoff was still in there. Boston's offside.
Minton wearing an A for the Bruins. We talked earlier about, you know, the leadership he can bring to this tournament with the NHL experience that he has and just being able to share that with his teammates. And I feel like you said his name a lot here so far today, which is great to see.
Yeah, Brett Harrison and Riley Duran also wearing letters on their sweaters today. Penguins coming on to the attack. 4:15 to go here in this second period. Harding sweeps it across the ice. Pickering, little head fake, moves it back in deep. Gallagher cancels his man out. Come back around toward the near side. Poked along the wall. Clausen pulls it free and puts one just past the ear of Zajac. Centering pass off the skate of Sanderson in front of the net. Coming back toward the near side corner. Gallagher and Sanderson are along the near side boards. Sanderson comes out of the fray with it. Deflected puck up into the air. Sits down inside the blue line. Ends up on the stick of Loshmelis. And he'll work the Bruins ahead. Duran cutting down the corner against Harding. A centering pass came all the way back to Jackson Edward for a one-time bomb. Young turned over just inside the blue line, able to stay with it, and then goes down, and we got a penalty coming up here for a trip. With 3:13 to go in the second, Bruins will go back to the power play for the second time in this period. Gabe Clausen into the box.
You know, Ryan, you mentioned the name Owen Pickering, and you know, we're talking about the guys who have a great showing here and parlay that into, you know, making the team or whatever it might be. But Owen Pickering was someone who last year had a really tough outing here, just dealt with a lot of adversities, and you know, something that management wanted to see how he responded from it. He responded really well, ended up making his debut for the Penguins later in the season. So it can go both ways. You can have a tough tournament and, you know, turn it around and, you know, get back on track.
Here's Simpson, little head fake, looking to center, and it's blocked, and the Penguins get the clear. So third power play chance for the Bruins here. They had the double minor earlier in the period. So officially 0 for 2. Penguins have had one opportunity so far. Simpson works his way through neutral ice. Left side, Mint. His pass across, redirected off the skate of Avery Hayes. And the Bruins chase it back. Minute 20 to go on the power play. Harrison leaving it for Simpson. Cutting left side, gives to Minton. Minton to Gallagher. Backhands it, Simpson at the dot. Gave it up, got it right back. Simpson looking around, goes down low, in front, Minton a chance, and a save made by Daig. Good tester for him after he entered earlier in this period. And a good shot by Fraser Minton, and that's what the Boston organization wants to see out of him this weekend and in training camp. Can he create more scoring chances for himself and take advantage of those opportunities?
Which I think is a good problem to have, in the sense that the D zone is usually the part that takes more time to get buttoned up. And so if he's got that in a good spot and it's more about, you know, just trying to get the offense to come, that's perfect.
Here's LaChance. Short side shot, tipped up and over by Daig and out of play. As we mentioned, if you weren't with us in the outset, you know, the talk this week about Minton and him coming here after the experience that he had in the NHL with both Toronto and Boston last year, the you know, rookie experience in the AHL, is that he's got a shot to make the club if he shows well in this tournament and shows well in training camp, but that these games here in Buffalo might give him a little bit of a leg up on the competition because he'll be game tested before everybody else even starts with full-on practices next week. From the far circle, trying to one-time that one was Chandler, ended up wide. Penguins will clear. Minute 40 to go in the period, 25 seconds left on the man advantage for the Bruins.
I think it's worth mentioning again, Ryan, that the entire staffs for each organization is here. You know, hockey ops management, the coaching staff, they're all just zeroed in on these guys and what they're bringing to the ice this weekend before camp starts, and there's, you know, 50 plus guys on the ice, and you're trying to keep track of 3 different practices and exhibition games.
Lachance broke his stick. Penguins coming on a jailbreak the other way, back and forth, and Sharon had one taken away by Zajac. Great opportunity there for the Penguins to grab a 2-goal lead before the intermission. Zajac came up big, and now Johansson drives one in on Daig, who makes a good save of his own. 50 seconds left in the period, and we'll get a whistle and an icing here against the Penguins.
Zajac has just hit the ground running for the Boston Bruins. You don't want to put a ton of stock into this weekend, just considering, you know, all the different factors that we've touched on, but it's definitely a sign of optimism that, you know, he's been able to get off to such a strong start in this first game here.
18 out of 19 for Zajac down at the Bruins end. Penguins goaltending tandem has faced 16 Bruin shots and stopped them all. Sharon from the red line will dump it in. Zajac spins it around toward the near side. Vermette able to seal off Brunick. Johansson into the middle and can't get it out of the zone again. Penguins have done a nice job creating turnovers inside the blue line. Doc, point blank save by Zajac that time again, and McKinnon will get it ahead for Schmaltz. 15 to go in the period. Edwards on the attack, hands to Vermette down the right circle, tried to get it back to him and disrupted. Brzezinski ahead of Koivunen to play that puck back across the ice. Bruins will throw it toward the Penguins' end, and that's going to bring us to the end of period number 2. So Boston unable to get on the scoreboard despite 3 power play chances in that second period, and the 1 goal of the game by Combined through the first 40 minutes of this Prospects Challenge. Penguins have that courtesy of Ville Koivunen back in the first period. Boston with 3 power play chances in the second period came up empty. Penguins are 0 for 1 on the man advantage, but did score on a delayed penalty in the first period on that Koivunen goal. They'll be at full strength here as we start the third. Shimon Zajac remains between the pipes for the Bruins. He's gone the whole way. Penguins flip their goaltenders about halfway through this one. Gabriel Daig faced a couple of good scoring chances in the latter half of that second period as he starts the third.
So Daig is actually from Sorel-Tracy, Quebec, the same hometown as Marc-Andre Fleury, which, you know, there's a bit of news about him today.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that, what the Penguins are going to do is phenomenal to bid farewell to the retiring Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah, signed to a professional tryout contract. He's not coming back, you know, to play the season. I think there's a little bit of confusion there, but he's going to be there for 2 days. He's going to practice with the team and then play in parts of a preseason game on the next day. And Ryan, you know, if Daig was able to split that game with him, you can only imagine what that would be like, because they do have a relationship. They have skated together, worked out together. And Daig said he's learned a lot about him, especially from his attitude. He said this guy's always smiling, always has fun, competes really hard. It's a great example. And I think, you know, he was backstopping a Victoriaville team that was struggling. So I think, you know, when you're the goalie who's facing a bunch of shots every night and losing a lot of games, it can be hard to keep that mentality. But, you know, no one better to learn from than the Flower when it comes to being happy.
There's Kindle with a takeaway and throws a shot in on goal, and Zajac able to make that save. Pieniniemi kept it alive. Now Avery Hayes got one to the net. Zajac knocked that down, and Kindle digging for a rebound. Bruins will clear it out. Dans Loshmelis fanned on it, trying to get it deep. Penguins headed back the other way. On the near side boards, battle for possession. Petal waiting for it at the blue line. Calvert instead whipped one through the slot, but off of Cheveldayoff into the far corner. Hayes lifted it back toward the point. Here's Petal. Center blue line, Beauchene. His shot was blocked by Schmaltz. Schmaltz now racing after a free puck down the right wing side. Able to slip past Beauchene, who goes down. On the far boards, Edwards. Trying to push it back toward the point. Couldn't get it there. Cheveldayoff able to get his shoulder on Calvert. Bruins get it back deep, but the Penguins control. 2.5 minutes gone by in this third period.
You mentioned Petal. His family is not watching our stream, unfortunately, because they are in the stands right by us. Came in from Nova Scotia.
They could be on their phone.
That's true. I should tell them. Give us some numbers. Yeah, they came in to watch him in person, and Nova Scotia, the Sidney Crosby connection. He has a signed 87 jersey, and now he's playing in the same organization. So, and I'm sure the Bruins, a lot of players like that with Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand. It's definitely some amazing players to wear the black and gold on both sides.
Puck will rattle around toward the far side. Ty Cheveldayoff got it out to the blue line, but not out. Graham reversed it back around toward Clausen. Clausen trying to get a return on a give and go, but cut off by Edwards. McKinnon, Young, and around to the far side. Cheveldayoff got stood up, but did get the puck cleared. Graham gets the Penguins right back in. Here's Pickering, sends one across, and Zajac makes another good stop. Loose rebound. He's able to flop down and gather it in with a glove. Zajac's been solid all day. He is keeping the Bruins in this game. Outshot 25-16 to this point. And he has come up with some big stops on some point-blank chances.
For sure. I think you see that, the 25 shots, you're like, whoa, just the pure volume in itself is a lot. But to know that a big chunk of those were high-quality chances, it's really impressive what he's done so far today.
Face-off controlled by Boston. Gallagher to Maverick Lachance. Lachance committed to Merrimack College for the 26-27 season. Just outside of Boston in North Andover. That puck deflects up and out of play, or not out of play rather, but over the head of Zajac. Gallagher got it along for Chandler. Backhanded out toward the blue line. Brunick kept it alive. Good drag around Lachance. Centering pass hits off a skate and kicks in toward the net. Zajac turns that aside. Brunick able to slip away from Lachance again. Got the shot off the blocker that time. 4.5 gone by here in this third period. Penguins have had quite a few of these sustained pressures in the Bruins zone. We got a Bruin without a stick. It's for Met. Pianiniemi gave it up. Brunick's pass back across. Found a Bruin. Vermette with a stick in his hand. Headed up the left wing side. All the way to the net. Save made by Daig. Brunick. They'll push it for Doc. He pulled up short of a on-rushing Bancroft. Penguins gain the attack zone. Moving toward the slot, a backhander by Avery Hayes and a glove stop by Zajac.
Yeah, the Penguins have done a good job on the blue line. I think the defense has been an area that they're trying to build up their depth in, and I know they were happy to get Harrison Brunick in the second round. And it's cool, Ryan. You cover the draft, and you see all the hard work the scouts put in to add these players into the organization, and now, for more recent ones like Brunick and the guys in 2024 and 2025, to see it all kind of come to fruition and see them in action is great to see.
You look down the list, the Penguins have 3 first-rounders here. They have 3 second-rounders, 3 third-rounders, 3 fourth-rounders. How deep their draft is. The Bruins, some of their top prospects aren't able to be here. James Higgins, for instance, not able to be here because of his commitment to college this year. So he's not eligible to play in here. So they've got 1 second-round pick here, and that's Fraser Minton, who was a Toronto second-round pick. because
Yeah.
some of their top prospects just aren't able to be here yet.
That is a great point. Because I think, the Penguins, another one of their first-round picks, Will Horkoff, plays at Michigan, also cannot be here for that reason. So for anyone watching, if you're wondering why some of these bigger names aren't here.
Here's Harrison with a one-timer, hit the post as he went short side against Daig. Tough angle. Harrison nearly tied this game up. And Harrison's 6 goals last year in Providence. Puck brought along the near side circle by Cooper Simpson. Riley Duran in the corner. They'll play it around to the far side. Sharon's going to get there first, but he gets surrounded by black sweaters. Thrown back in front, tipped off of Duran and went wide. Sharon was sneaking up ice looking for a home run pass. Young will back it up. That one got through McKinnon. Diacek plays it out of his crease. Simpson whips it across ice. Mitch Young back across to the near side. Bushmelis along the near circle. Got wrestled down by Pickering. And Graham leads the Penguins back the other direction. Shouldered by Gallagher. Edwards circles around toward the far side. Pass off the near wall looking for Cheveldayoff. Clausen kept it out of the Penguin zone. Sanderson trying to move it forward. Gallagher redirected up into the air. Graham able to bat it forward. It'll come right back out. And Edwards grabbed and held up against the glass on the near side by Sanderson. Young at the back of the Bruins net. Oh, bad bounce out in front, and Zajac again faces a point-blank shot. Bancroft headed the other direction now for the Bruins. He gets knocked down against Brunick. Schmaltz gets involved in the fray. Brunick will skate free with the puck. And then he collides with Johansson, and the Bruins have a 2-on-0. Edwards moving in, got it across, and Schmaltz couldn't put it home. Edwards with a wide-angle shot missed. Now here's Edward. Moving toward the left wing circle, throws it in front off a skate, still loose, Cheveldayoff a chance, and down on his backside, somehow able to get it was Daig, and gets the quick whistle as that puck squirts free.
Oh my goodness, the Bruins are buzzing. They are right there, and it's something where you can't get frustrated. The chances are right there. It's been a long summer. The timing will come. They'll start to fall, but the positive is that they're knocking at the door right now.
Well, for the first half of this game, the Bruins didn't generate a whole lot of grade A scoring chances, including on that 4-minute power play in the second period. So, yeah, step in the right direction here, at least for them in the first 8 minutes of this third period. And here's a chance, and they score! And it was not exactly a dangerous-looking shot, but Lachance able to beat Daig and get the Bruins on the board and tie this game. Maverick Lachance with the first Boston goal.
You gotta love this game. That, you could have the most perfect grade A chance that doesn't fall, and then a nothing shot from the half wall is the one that finds its way into the back of the net and over the line. I don't think Daig was expecting that, and understandably so. But, we talked earlier about the Bruins' assertiveness, that they were kind of just going for it when it came to putting the puck on net, and that's what you want to see, because you just never know what can happen in that situation. Maverick
Lachance playing for Sherbrooke in the Quebec Major Junior League last couple of seasons. Had 34 goals and 59 points in 52 games a year ago. As a takeaway here inside the Boston blue line. Into neutral ice comes Vermette. Penguins will regain possession in their own zone. Vermette putting pressure on Koivunen. Bros sends across the ice. O'Shane knocked off balance by Minton coming through neutral. Vermette tried to leave it for Minton. It was deflected, but Minton stays with it. Gets around Peddle into the right wing corner. Wraps it around far side. Bruins were changing. Getting some fresh bodies out there. Bancroft pivots toward the left wing corner. Brings it back up top. Here's Young, right circle. Sends one in front, looking for a redirect. It got all the way through. Harrison to Minton with his back to the net. Works it toward the left circle and all the way out to the blue line. Pass for Bancroft, spins off his man. Centering pass, blocked by Beauchene on Harrison. And the Penguins clear.
The Penguins put their top line out there, I think, to try to start swinging momentum back onto their side, but the Bruins kept it. Another great shift. Definitely have some momentum from that goal. getting the puck across the line.
Puck rolled on Brzezinski as he tried to keep in. Bruins got cleared and then get it right back in deep. Oshmelis along the left wing circle. He comes out toward the blue line, stops and deals it back down low. Harrison skating into the right corner. All the way up top, Harrison still going to the left circle. All the way across, Oshmelis a chance. And the save by Daig, and he'll cover up. Oshmelis had a chance to pick a corner and couldn't bury it.
I wasn't sure if Daig was going to be able to get his body into position, having to slide over quickly, but he was able to get a pad on it.
Don Oshmelis, 4th round pick back in 2022. Spent the last couple of seasons at UMass, turned pro at the end of his season, and played 6 games in the regular season for Providence and had 12 points. As that puck gets covered by Daig in a scramble. His production dipped a bit in the playoffs, but showed right away what he can do. And one of the things he was asked about this week, and they always talk about it, and it's appropriate since they're playing Pittsburgh, is he played in the IIHF World Championships last year for his home country of Latvia against Sidney Crosby. And Crosby gave him some compliments, particularly about his face-offs.
No way.
And so he was asked about it this week, and he joked. He said, what exactly did Crosby say? And he said I might be the next Wayne Gretzky. And he said, he laughed. He said, no, he just said something about my face-offs, but it was really nice to get a compliment from one of the best players of all time.
That's amazing. What a line. But I think that's what is so incredible about Sidney Crosby is he understands the effect that his words can have, especially on these younger players, and that just one comment can really resonate and make an impact. So it's awesome to see, Harrison Brunick was over there, and even Sid coming over and saying hi to him, some of the other guys he was with was like, Sid? Right. And he immediately became much cooler in their eyes. So
just saw Oshmelis uncork a one-timer that Daig stops. We've got 9:29 left in what is a tie hockey game, 1-1. Penguins break out here with Graham coming toward the left side. It's run off by McKinnon. Bruins try to head the other way. Lawson angled Schmaltz away from it. Trickles in toward Daig, and he'll cover up. So Ville Koivunen in the first period for the Penguins and Maverick Lachance for the Bruins. The goal scorers in this one through the first almost 51 minutes.
You mentioned the name Ville Koivunen, and someone that he came up with at the end of last season was Rucker McGroarty, a first-round pick of Winnipeg who was acquired by the Penguins and is currently injured right now. So any Penguins fans that are watching that are wondering where he is, that's the situation. Kyle Dubas will provide a status closer to camp, but it's definitely a bummer. I think we're all excited to watch these two in particular with the way they finished last season in the NHL with Pittsburgh.
Koivunen came over in the Jake Gensel trade from Carolina. So he was a second-round pick of the Hurricanes back in 2021. Found his way into the Penguins organization, got some NHL experience last season. Rose dealt it left side for Hayes. Play wound up offside, and there was a collision with Hayes and McKinnon right at the whistle. Draws a little bit of attention. And now it looks like Jackson Edward. Can't tell who that is from the Penguins. Penguins did not do us the honor of wearing numbers on their sleeves, so unless they've got their back to you, it's tough to tell who's who.
I wish I had binoculars.
Ryan Johnston from the Bruins Radio Network, Michelle Crecchiolo from PittsburghPenguins.com. We are broadcasting on both the Penguins and Bruins websites this afternoon. From Buffalo, the Lecom Harbor Center, this 2025 Prospects Challenge. Sabres, the Devils, and the Blue Jackets also all have their prospects here this weekend. Puck gets dumped in by Edwards. And I can't say I've ever been to Buffalo when it's 80 degrees outside, but it still feels like about February inside the building here.
Yeah, Buffalo in the summer just the warm weather, absolute game changer. It's gorgeous here. We're right on the waterfront, or I think it's canal side is what the proper term might be. Tom, our engineer, is giving a nod.
Well, I went to college not too far down the road at Syracuse University, and legendary basketball coach Jim Boeheim used to say the summers in Syracuse are just like the winters in Hawaii. It's like, why would you need to live in Hawaii? It's like, we get summer here, it's just as nice.
I love it.
Vermette tips one forward here for the Bruins. Goes around behind, got knocked down. He's looking for a penalty. Instead, the Penguins head the other direction. Hayes lost the handle near the red line. Vermette will sweep it back into the Pittsburgh zone. Hedl pushed it around the near wall. Bounced away from Young. Kindle picks it up on the fly. Pass left side looking for Doc. It was out of his reach. Hayes kept alive. Doc gives it back into the corner. All the way across and thrown right through the slot. Nobody there to take advantage. Hayes from the center of the blue line. Pressured, forced a turnover, and LaChance was out of gas at the end of his shift. Couldn't get going fast enough to get to that loose puck. Gallagher reversed it to Young. Harrison under pressure from Pickering. Turns over. Avery Hayes stepping to the front of the net. Tipped up and over Zajac and out of play.
Avery Hayes, older brother of Travis Hayes. 4 boys in the family, all from the Metro Detroit area, and all 4 play hockey. Elijah's the youngest. He's coming up into, I believe he was drafted by the Sioux Greyhounds, plays for Victory Honda, AAA organization. And then Gavin is in the Chicago Blackhawks organization. So all, you know, pretty high level hockey for all of them.
A lot of hand-me-down equipment in that foursome, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah. Which I'm sure their parents were very pleased about.
Here's Minton, has to wait for Bancroft to get back on side before he can step across the blue line. Harrison, and he lost it on the near circle. Big hit by Bancroft against Calvert. Minton steps right back into the attack. Minton got it over to Johansson. Tic-tac-toe in front. Harrison was knocked off balance. Minton sends one across looking for Bancroft on that far circle. Rolled back around near side. Sharon took a hit from Minton, but protected the puck. Calvert off the glass and into the Bruins zone. Oki Johansson to the near corner. Gallagher. Skating out is Harrison. Runs into 3 white sweaters from his knees, trying to get that puck further into the zone. Instead, Bochmelis circles through neutral ice. He skates in and again runs into a wall of white jerseys. Sanderson played into the Bruins zone with 6:13 to go here in the third period. Tie game. Lob through neutral ice. Simpson was behind everyone, but over his head. Goaltender Daig had to play it. So on we go. Simpson trying to get it back to Jackson Edward. Cut off. Sanderson knocked away from him by McKinnon. Simpson against Pickering. One-on-one. McKinnon works along the blue line. Hands off. They get it back to Simpson for a one-timer save. Made the rebound. And a chance for Young. That was blocked wide after Daig made the initial save. Penguins get it cleared with 5.5 to go. Dylan Edwards to Young. Edwards brings in across the line, trying to find some space. Cheveldayoff into the near corner against Harding. Pickering from behind his net. Koivunen moved along to Travis Hayes. Near center ice. Put it back in by Edwards here for the Bruins. Harding will retrieve as he goes behind the net. And another clearing effort. Young drives it right back in from the center circle. Much different third period than most of the first 40 minutes. A lot of play down in the Pittsburgh zone.
I was going to say they're having a little bit of trouble handling that forecheck. The Bruins just coming in waves.
Yananiemi played that puck in offside on the delayed call. Penguins tag up. They went for a change. Free puck to Brzezinski. By Vermette. Penguins with possession with 4:15 left here in regulation. Doc brings in across the blue line. Into the left corner. A little bump from Gallagher. Minton brings the Bruins back. He's got LaChance on the right side. Gives it to him. Maverick played it back through the slot, but nobody there. Knocked past Johansson at the point. Quick little 2-on-1 here for Pittsburgh, and the initial save made by Zajac. Bruins clear it. Here's Harrison, left circle, a blast, and that one wide on the glove side. Minton sent it back toward the slot, but picked off. Hayes was sneaking ahead. Avery Hayes, that is, but Gallagher took one away. 3.5 to go. That pass angled away from Avery Hayes. Miller stood up by Loschmelish at the Boston blue line. Gallagher got knocked down, but kept the puck moving. Loschmelish down the left wing, or right wing circle rather, angled wide of the net by Pickering. Didn't let him get into shooting position. Bancroft knocked to a knee. Still able to get that puck back to Edward at the point. His shot got through. Daig made the save. Under 3 minutes left. Simpson in the corner. Calvert pushed it back to the blue line. Kept in, but turned over. And Miller knocked down by Duran as he tried to fight his way through the neutral zone. He'll turn and head off on a Pittsburgh change with 2:40 left.
You know, from the Penguin side, the best chance in the last few minutes was from Harrison Brunick, defenseman, who has just been tremendous when it comes to joining the offense. And I think that was something he said was a learning curve from him coming out of training camp, where he stayed until the end and, you know, really had a great showing that he tried doing too much when he got back to juniors, and he had to learn how to let the game come to him more and just be better when it came to, you know, his reads and his calls and everything like that. So it's fantastic to see that he's, you know, gotten that sort of under wraps here.
Riley Duran from the red line dumps into the Pittsburgh zone. Daig couldn't stop it at the back of the net. Schmaltz on the far side boards. Cheveldayoff steps out toward that left wing circle. Gets it back to the point. Brzezinski. Stick stop by Daig. Chandler juggling that puck, trying to get it onto his stick, but nice job with the stick check by Max Graham, allowing the Penguins to get it cleared. Just about 90 seconds to go here in a tie game. Turnover inside the blue line. Penguins trying to take advantage. Hayes overskated the puck coming through neutral ice and just has to dump it in on a delayed offside.
Right, I feel like the ice is a little slow here in this third period here.
Well, perhaps those 80-degree outdoor temperatures starting to take their toll.
Absolutely.
1:05 left. LaChance, the lone goal scorer for the Bruins. Vermette got knocked down on the end boards by Peddle. Peddle finds the puck on his stick, and the Penguins will clear. Johansson to Gallagher. Back onto the attack. Throw one in front. Just steered away by Daig. Minton was sniffing toward the net. Johansson throws one back in front, and LaChance with the tip. Daig makes the save and gets the whistle with exactly 40 seconds left here in the third period. 1-1 our score.
You know, Daig coming in a bit of a tough situation in the sense that he had to take the net about midway through and didn't have the benefit of warm-ups and just, you know, having that sort of rhythm, but he's definitely settled in nicely with the context of the situation.
And he walked into a 4-minute shorthanded situation
right.
too on a 5-on-4. Like they put him in right at the start of a Bruins double minor power play.
You got this, kid. Go get him.
Adversity builds character, right?
Exactly.
40 seconds left. Off the face-off. Driving down toward the corner was Loki Johansson. Lobbed out of the zone, sneaking behind the defense, a chance for Hayes, and he scores! Avery Hayes on a break. Caught the Bruins flat-footed, and Pittsburgh takes the lead with 26.4 to go.
you could hear him calling for that. And to be able to execute a pass like that, almost like a Larry Murphy dump style pass, and to have it work out, and for him to execute and finish, that was just, you know, an incredible play all around. And, you know, regardless of if you're a Bruins or Penguins fan, if you're just a hockey fan, it was amazing to see. For that to come together with 26.4 seconds left, just remarkable.
Hayes, 23 goals in 60 games in Wilkes-Barre last year. Gives the Penguins the lead late. See if the Bruins can get possession and get the goaltender pulled. Bush-Mellish will get it in across the line. Goalie headed to the bench. Extra skater coming on, only 15 seconds left. Kept alive by Jackson Edward at the point. Puck got through Simpson along the near side. 8 seconds to go. Penguins will clear it, and it will just make it far enough for an icing with 3.6 seconds left. There'll be at least one more face-off in this one. So Zajac on the bench here for Boston, having stopped 30 out of 32 Pittsburgh shots.
We're going to see a timeout here?
Doesn't look like it. Just play it out with a 6-on-5 advantage here for Boston. And the faceoff pulled back into the corner. Pickering looking to eat it. Will. And the horn will sound to end this one. So the Bruins made a good push in the third period, got the game tied, but surrender a late goal, and the Penguins wind up with a 2-1 victory. Overall thoughts today?
I just think all of these players can feel good about this coming out of it. It was a great game of hockey after months of not having this sort of action. You know, we talked about the new coaches. There's probably new systems and just things to get used to. And all of that said, you know, there was a lot of compete. There were some great chances. There were some great saves. There were some special teams. I just feel like it checked every box there, Ryan.
Yeah, you know, from a Boston perspective, you know, I think defensively wasn't great through 2 periods. They kept the puck mostly in the Pittsburgh zone in the third period. It was a good push back there. I think the guys that you wanted to see show, you know, Minton, Duran, Harrison, like they generated some chances, weren't able to bury them. Lachance's goal was a little bit of a fluky one, but they got some chances there in the third period. But overall, I think, you know, the guys that you wanted to see, they showed a little something today. So,
yeah, which is super exciting.
Yeah. So Billy Koivunen and then Avery Hayes, the goal scorers.